This week on Storyboard, we catch up with Wendy Clark, CEO DDB Worldwide, on her recent visit to India and speak to her about many things, including global slowdown and gender disparity in the advertising industry. We go on location for a campaign shoot for Magic Brick's latest TVC and catch up with actors Ayushmann Khurrana and Kriti Sanon. And on this week's notice board, we have the new campaign for HDFC Life, and we also check out the latest campaign from Daily Hunt. Hello and welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shibani Gharat, but before we begin the show, let's take a look at some of the big happenings from the world of advertising and marketing this week. Taking the first step towards solving the water crisis, Harpic News 18 Mission Pani was launched this week. It is an initiative towards saving water. The aim is to change attitude and improve efficiency in the usage of water. What is in it for brand Harpic? Let's find out.
Harpic has been associated for over 100 years with the entire mission of providing clean and hygienic access of sanitation across the world. So now, over the 5 years, if you've seen, Harpic has been associated with Banega Swachh India and the Swachh Bharat mission, which was focused on providing sanitation for all. Now we realized that both sanitation as well as water are interlinked. So water enables sanitation. And that's when we decided to actually partner with Network 18 on the cause of Mission Pani.
Beverage major Coca-Cola has entered India's niche but potentially high-volume non-alcoholic malt drinks market in a big way with its global brand Barbican. As a part of the pilot, Barbican is imported and available at around 3,000 select outlets across metropolitan cities. And finally, Cadbury Dairy Milk Silk has roped in Karthik Aryan as their new brand ambassador. And now let's get on with the rest of the show. Wendy Clark, CEO DDB Worldwide, recently made her second visit to India, a market she says is very important to the agency. As someone who started out in this industry as a receptionist, Clark has emerged as one of the few women at the CEO position in a creative agency setup. We caught up with her on her recent visit. Let's hear the excerpts from this conversation. Today on Storyboard, we have a very special guest with us who's visiting India. We have Wendy Clark, CEO DDB Worldwide, with us today. Wendy, welcome to Storyboard.
Thank you.
You know, the forecast for economic growth world over looks rather gloomy this year. How is your agency coping up with this news?
Yeah, so, I think as we think about economic forecasts around the world, both in India and other markets, our clients are looking for ways to create new sources of growth. They want to partner with us. They need our services and our capabilities. So we feel that that's actually good for business as people are seeking those new sources of growth. And we want to be a part of them creating those strategies and creating the work that will engage consumers, that will create those results. So we're very focused on helping our clients achieve that. Again, as a 70-year-old agency, this isn't the first time that we've been operating during times of, economic forecasts that look either good, bad, or in the middle. That's just part of the longevity of our agency. What we do again and again is, come to clients with great business solutions for that growth based on the fact that we believe creativity is the most powerful force in business. And we go to market in a way that understands and knows the consumers they're trying to attract to their brand and create results. We've got to stay very focused on that.
You know, in one of your speeches, you mentioned how one of the key differences in language right now is that agencies get caught up in being in the creative business and selling creative services when clients are using the word growth. So tell us, how can a creative person speak the language of growth?
We know that creativity is the most powerful force in business, so it's simply about marrying those two thoughts, that if you use this incredible, powerful lever called creativity, you will achieve the growth that you want for your company and for your brand. And so it's really about matching that language and helping understand that we are actually speaking about the same thing, but then giving the on and off ramps to how that works. So I think the most important thing we can do as an agency is really be part of our client's business, be part of their lexicon, understand their business so deeply that we can interpret it and then show how creativity can help move that business.
So you left the agency side to be on the client side for quite some time. What was the biggest difference that you felt, especially after returning to the agency side of the business?
Probably the most pronounced difference that I felt personally is this notion of resilience. Because as a client, I had much more control of the variables and outcomes and could kind of structure things where, as a client, I didn't necessarily lose as much. And as an agency, by definition, we're in the marketplace constantly pitching for new business and new projects and opportunities. If an agency is winning anywhere from 30 to 40% of its pitches, it's doing very well. That would be a high-performing agency by anyone's standards, which then by definition means that we're losing probably 60 to 70% of the time. So I had to get very comfortable with the idea of losing versus winning, and that still was actually winning. And so I would say personally my resilience has improved and increased tremendously in this role, and that's probably a good thing. I think we all should know how to be resilient and how to bounce back. And how to lead through that, particularly as a leader. I think when people are watching you and looking for your resilience, how you respond and how you lead through it is important.
Wendy Clark, you set foot in an agency not as a junior copywriter or as an account executive or a business development person, but as a receptionist. And over the years, you have grown in rank and, you have now become the CEO of DDB Worldwide. Tell us, what is the difference in the young agency talent that you see today? Is it more hard or is it more easy for them?
Well, we have a great Usain Bolt quote that we use a lot at the agency when he was asked, he'd run some distance, the fastest man in the world, and the guy said, well, what do you have to do that? And he said, it's not complicated, it's just hard. We reflect on that for our business. Our business isn't necessarily complicated, but it is hard. It is hard to do the same things that we need to do with, again, infinite connection and consumer engagement points, infinite different ways and capabilities, technologies that are available to us to do that. I mean, it feels like the canvas is broader and the toolkit is deeper than it's ever been before. But you can either see that as a challenge or you see that as incredibly exciting. And I do think the millennial generation, Gen Z behind them, find that incredibly exciting, number one, and quite frankly, natural. They've grown up in that. So someone my age might reflect on it as different. They don't know any different. That's just the canvas, the technology, the tools they've always had. So I think it feels quite organic and natural for most of our agency. Our agency is 2/3 millennial or younger. So a very young workforce that are very comfortable and confident in new ways of working.
So if I were to ask you to give a tip to, let's say, a younger talent within your own agency about this business and, from the learnings that you've had, what would that tip be?
The best advice, I get asked a lot, and the best advice I give people is to never be above doing anything. I think you can miss a lot of opportunity by thinking work is beneath you or something you won't learn from, and obviously after completing university and becoming a receptionist, that wasn't really my goal, obviously. But there was a recession at the time in the US. The jobs for a management trainee weren't available. And I had to get my foot in the door. And I think if I'd had a mindset of, well, I've trained harder than being a receptionist, I shouldn't be a receptionist, I wouldn't have got my foot in the door. And I knew if I could get my foot in the door, I'd get an opportunity to prove myself. I knew that could happen. And so I think you've got to have that willingness to try, to persevere, to not think that you're better than any work, to put your sleeves up, to do the hard work. And I think your success can come.
Wendy, tell us, what do you think of the gender disparity within the agency business, or rather the advertising industry today? You are the CEO of DDB Worldwide, but do you still think there are very less women in the top spot and it is still that old boys business?
It's sort of a yes and no answer. On the one hand, I have been working for 28 years, and so I can reflect on that 28-year journey and think, gosh, it's markedly different than it was 28 years ago. No question we've made incredible progress. And then I can focus present day and say, have we done enough? Do I really feel like that we've achieved true equality in our workforce and all the way up and down all the levels of our business? And I don't think that we have. And so we've got more work to do. I do think one of the things we've got to do is start moving the conversation to specifics, actions, appointments that we're making. So because you can put a good narrative on this. I can tell you I believe in it. I can tell you that, you know, we have great ambitions and desires, but unless those convert into actions of appointing women and driving different outcomes and implementing training programs that will identify the next talent and making sure and checking those ratios, I don't know that the narrative will convert. And so that's very much what we're focused on. We have women now running our dedicated sales agency in Barcelona, our Berlin office, our Melbourne office, our Sydney office, our New York office, and I can rattle off the women in leadership roles across our network. And the responsibility for me, for them, is to create a wake around them that raises more women into positions so that we resolve any inequality that exists in our business.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for speaking to us.
Thank you. It was good to see you.
It is time for us to take a short break. On the other side of this break, we catch up with actors Ayushmann Khurrana and Kriti Sanon as we take you on location of the campaign shoot for Magic Bricks.